Here's something that might change how you look at your cat forever. According to recent studies, more than 70% of cat behavior problems, the biting, the hiding, the sudden cold shoulder after a perfectly normal Tuesday, don't actually come from the cat. They come from us. From tiny, well-meaning mistakes that we repeat every single day without realizing it. And here's why that matters. Cats aren't random. They're not aloof for no reason. They're not moody little chaos gremlins who live to confuse you, although, okay, maybe a little. But underneath all of that mysterious feline energy, there is a very specific, very consistent code of conduct, a rule book. And your cat expects you to know it. The problem is, nobody gives you this rule book when you bring a cat home. You get food, a litter box, maybe a crinkly toy they'll ignore for 6 years, and then you're left to figure out the rest. So today, we're going through all 11 of these hidden rules in full detail. What they are, why they exist, what happens when you break them, and most importantly, how to do better. Because when you understand how your cat actually sees the world, the relationship doesn't just improve, it transforms. Let's start at the beginning. Rule number 1, don't stare at them too long. Let's be honest, you've done it, we've all done it. You're sitting across the room, your cat is just sitting there looking absurdly beautiful, and you lock eyes with them and just hold it, thinking warm thoughts, sending loving energy, maybe whispering something deeply embarrassing that we won't repeat here. And from your perspective, it feels like a moment of connection, like you're looking into the soul of another being who truly understands you. But from your cat's perspective, you are being deeply threatening right now. Here's the thing about feline communication. Direct, sustained eye contact is not a sign of affection in their world. It never has been. Among cats, even cats who are close friends, even cats who groom each other and sleep in the same pile, you will not see them holding eye contact for long periods. They glance, they acknowledge, they look away. This is considered polite. This is considered respectful. A hard stare held without blinking or looking away is a challenge. In the wild, that's the look one animal gives another right before confrontation. It signals tension, dominance, and potential threat. And no matter how safe and domestic your living room is, your cat's nervous system still carries that ancient wiring. Dr. Michael Delgado, a certified feline behaviorist who has spent years studying cat cognition, explains that cats are extremely sensitive to eye movements and visual cues. What reads as a loving gaze to you reads as social pressure to them. And depending on the cat's personality and past experiences, that pressure can trigger anything from mild discomfort to a swat across the face. And yes, that has happened to people. There are countless stories of cat owners who were simply gazing adoringly at their cat from close range and got a firm, deliberate, completely calm slap for their trouble. No hissing, no warning, just a paw. Because in cat language, you were being rude and they corrected you. So what do you do instead? You learn the slow blink. This is one of the most important things you will ever learn about communicating with the cat, and it is beautifully simple. Instead of holding eye contact, you make soft, relaxed eye contact, and then you slowly close your eyes halfway, not all the way, just to a gentle squint. Hold for a beat, and then reopen them calmly. That's it. That's the whole thing. And what it communicates is, I see you. I am not afraid of you. I am not threatening you. I feel completely safe in your presence. It's the feline equivalent of a warm smile, a peace signal. And when your cat slow blinks back at you, and many of them will once they understand you speak their language, that's not just a cute moment for a video. That's a genuine emotional exchange. That's your cat saying, I feel safe with you too. Practice this every day. Make it a greeting. It costs you nothing and builds more trust than 1,000 forced cuddles. Rule number 2, let them come to you. This one is harder than it sounds, especially if you're someone who loves your cat with a fierceness that sometimes embarrasses you in front of other adults. The rule is, whenever possible, let your cat initiate contact. And yes, I know what it's like to be sitting in your home, minding your own business, and suddenly your cat walks into the room and you feel this overwhelming gravitational pull toward them. Every atom of your body is saying, pick them up, bury your face in their fur, squeeze them gently but with meaning. And sometimes they're fine with it. Some cats are highly tolerant. Some actually love being scooped up without warning. But here's what the research and behavioral science consistently shows. Most cats, most of the time, prefer to be the one who decides when physical interaction begins. This isn't about whether they love you. It isn't about whether you're a good cat parent. It's about something much more fundamental to feline psychology: autonomy. Cats are, at their core, creatures who need to feel in control of their environment. This goes back thousands of years of evolutionary wiring. In the wild, a cat who could not control their own movements, who could not choose when to approach and when to retreat, was a cat in danger. And while your cat knows, on some level, that you are safe, that ancient need for self-determination doesn't just evaporate. When you initiate contact, especially quickly or by picking them up or crowding into their space, you are taking control of the interaction. You are making a decision for them. And even if it's a loving decision, even if the outcome is perfectly pleasant belly warmth and purring, something in your cat registers, "I didn't choose this." And the more that happens, the more cautious they become around you. The more they stay slightly out of reach, not because they dislike you, but because they've learned that being near you sometimes means losing control of the situation. Now, contrast that with what happens when you wait. When you sit quietly, when you make yourself calm and available, when you let them approach on their own timeline, which might be immediately or might be 20 minutes later when they've decided entirely on their own terms that they want to be near you. That moment, when they jump up onto your lap not because you reached for them, but because they chose you, that's different. That carries a different weight. The purring is louder, the kneading is more deliberate, the whole interaction has a different quality because it is freely given. The practical advice: create spaces in your day where you are simply present and accessible. Sit on the floor, read a book on the couch, be somewhere your cat can find you, and then do nothing. Let them make the first move. Give them the gift of initiative. You'll find that over time, they use that gift more and more. Rule number 3, respect their scent map. When you see your cat rubbing their face against the corner of the couch, or along the edge of the door frame, or against your ankles when you walk in, they're not itchy. They're not just being affectionate, though that's part of it. They are building a map. Cats have scent glands located in their cheeks, chin, forehead, paws, and the base of their tail. When they rub against objects or against you, they deposit pheromones, chemical signals that are completely invisible and odorless to us, but that are rich, layered, deeply meaningful information to them. These pheromones say, "I have been here. This is safe. This belongs to me. This is home." Over time, your cat builds up what behaviorists sometimes call a scent map, a kind of invisible architecture of familiarity that covers their entire territory. The furniture, the doorways, the blankets, your clothing. It all carries their signature, and that signature is not just territorial, it's deeply comforting. It tells your cat on a neurological level that they are in a safe, known place. Now, here's where well-meaning humans create problems without realizing it. You washed the blanket their scent was all over. You rearranged the furniture. You replaced the worn-out cat bed with a brand new one that smells like a factory in another country. You use a strongly scented cleaning product on the floor they walk across every day. From your perspective, you freshen things up. From your cat's perspective, someone has systematically erased the map that told them they were safe. This is genuinely disorienting for them, not in a dramatic, obvious way necessarily. Cats are subtle, but you might notice increased restlessness, more rubbing behavior as they try to reestablish their territory, avoidance of areas that smell unfamiliar, or a general uptick in anxiety. What to do instead? Be gradual and strategic about cleaning and changing things. If you need to wash a blanket, leave another piece of their bedding unwashed nearby so the familiar scent isn't completely gone. If you're introducing a new cat bed, place it next to the old one first and let them rub on it, investigate it, and transfer their scent before you remove the old one. If you rearrange furniture, give them time to reinvestigate and remark before making more changes. And resist the urge to spray air fresheners or strongly scented cleaners in areas where your cat spends a lot of time. Their noses are approximately 14 times more sensitive than ours. What smells pleasantly light to you is practically overpowering to them. Let them have their map. Let them maintain it.
That map is their sense of home.
Rule number 4. Respond to their meows. Here is a fact about cats that I think about all the time and never get tired of. Adult cats do not meow at each other. Seriously, kittens meow to their mothers, that's a thing, but once cats grow up and live among other cats, they almost entirely stop using vocalization as a form of communication. They talk to each other through scent, body language, facial expression, and the positioning of their ears and tail. The meow, as we know it, is essentially a language that cats developed specifically to communicate with humans. That's not a metaphor. That's not an oversimplification. That is what the research indicates. Cats figured out, through thousands of years of living alongside us, that we are not particularly good at reading body language. We need sounds. We respond to sounds. So they developed a vocal system aimed directly at us. A 2003 study found something even more extraordinary. Cats adjust the pitch, tone, and pattern of their meows based on how we respond to them. They observe our reactions. They experiment with different sounds. They fine-tune their communication specifically to reach you as an individual. Your cat is, in a very real sense, learning how to talk to you in a language designed for your ears. And when they meow and you respond, even just briefly, even just with a glance or a quiet word, you are confirming that the communication is working. You are validating their effort to reach you. But when cats meow repeatedly and receive no response, two things can happen. Some cats escalate, meowing more loudly, more frequently, more insistently. Others, over time, begin to withdraw. They stop trying. They go quiet in a way that isn't peace, but resignation. That is heartbreaking when you understand what it means. A cat who has stopped trying to communicate with you isn't a calm, independent cat. It might be a cat who has learned that their voice doesn't matter to you. You don't need to have a full conversation. You don't need to narrate back at length. But when your cat meows, acknowledge them. Say their name. Ask what they need. Let them hear your voice respond to theirs. Even a soft, "Hey, sweetheart," tells them, "I hear you. You matter. We are in communication." That exchange, repeated daily, is one of the foundational bricks of trust.
Rule number 5. Always give them an escape route. Here is something that is easy to forget when you're feeling cuddly. Cats do not like to feel trapped. This is true even when they have voluntarily placed themselves in your lap, even when everything is fine, even when there is absolutely nothing threatening in the environment. The need for an available exit is hardwired into the cat's nervous system, and it doesn't switch off based on circumstances. You may have noticed this behavior. Your cat pauses at the threshold of a room, just inside the doorway, scanning the space before entering, tail flicking slightly, eyes moving. People often read this as your cat being quirky or dramatic. What's actually happening is a safety assessment. They are checking the room for hazards and, most importantly, mapping the exits. That's not neurotic. That's smart. That's exactly what a creature with that kind of nervous system should do.
What this means practically. Keep interior doors cracked when possible, so your cat always has movement options throughout the house. Don't corner them during interactions. Let there always be a clear direction they could walk away in. When children or guests are around, actively ensure your cat has access to high spaces or rooms where they can retreat undisturbed. Don't restrain them when they begin to squirm. Let them go. And here's the paradox that makes this rule so interesting. Cats are far more likely to choose to stay near you when they know they can leave. The security of having the option is itself comforting. They don't need to use the exit, they just need to know it's there. Give them that, and they'll stay. Rule number 6. Don't pet them like a dog. This isn't a comparison between species, it's about understanding a fundamentally different set of physical preferences. Dogs, generally speaking, love big, long strokes down the back, full body contact, enthusiastic, almost rough affection that they lean into and mirror back at you. For a lot of dogs, the more physical and expansive the petting, the better. Cats operate on a completely different system. For most cats, the preferred contact zones are specific and limited. The top of the head, the cheeks, just behind the ears, and under the chin. These are areas where they have scent glands, which means your touch in these spots blends your scent with theirs, a form of mutual marking that feels socially significant to them. The belly is a trap, a beautiful, soft, inviting trap. Your cat may roll over and expose it, which looks like an invitation, but often isn't. For many cats, the belly display is a sign of trust and contentment, but it is not a request to be touched there. The stomach is a vulnerable territory, instinctively protected, and touching it can trigger an almost reflexive defensive response. That's where the love bite and the sudden backward kick come from. They're not being mean. You touched the danger zone. The spine, especially closer to the tail, is another area that varies wildly by cat. Some love it. Others find prolonged stroking along the back overstimulating, and this is a key concept, overstimulation. Cats can enjoy petting and then, within seconds, tip over into sensory overload. The signals that this is happening are usually clear if you're watching for them. The tail begins to flick more quickly, the skin along the back ripples or twitches, the ears rotate backward, the head turns toward your hand with a new kind of attention. These are all early warnings that say, "I'm done now, please stop." If you catch these signals and stop, your cat relaxes and the interaction ends well. If you don't catch them and keep going, the interaction ends with claws, and everyone is slightly worse off. The best petting is rhythmic, gentle, and responsive. Watch your cat's body throughout. Let their signals guide you. Stop before they need to stop you. Leave them wanting slightly more, and they'll come back sooner.
Rule number 7. Honor the do not disturb sign. This one is about respect. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day. This is not laziness, this is biology. Cats are crepuscular hunters. They evolved to be most active at dawn and dusk and to conserve energy in between. Sleep is not a luxury for them. It's a physiological necessity that supports everything from immune function to emotional regulation. When your cat is in a deep, tucked-in nap, the full loaf position, paws folded under chest, eyes at half-mast, occasionally twitching in whatever dreamscape they inhabit, that is sacred time. The temptation to disturb it is understandable. They look so soft, they look so peaceful, they look so pettable that it seems almost criminal to walk past without making contact. But here's the thing, being woken up is startling and unpleasant for most animals, and cats are no exception. Being touched without warning while asleep can trigger a defensive response even in the most gentle cat, a grab, a bite, a sudden scramble, because the first thing their nervous system does when surprised is prepare for threat. Beyond the emotional response, there's the emotional one. Cats have long, excellent memories for social experiences. They track who makes them feel safe and who makes them feel disrupted. A cat who is frequently disturbed during sleep or rest learns that being near you carries risk, that choosing to rest in your presence means accepting the possibility of unwanted contact, and they will begin to choose rest locations that are out of your reach. The opposite is also true. A cat who learns that when they rest near you, they are completely undisturbed, that their stillness is respected, begins to choose to rest near you deliberately, specifically because they know it's safe. Read the signals. If your cat opens one eye and makes a small sound in your direction, that's an invitation to gently engage. If they sigh, tuck in more tightly, or shift their body away from you, that's the answer. Let them sleep. Sit nearby if you like. Be present without being intrusive. A cat who trusts that their rest is safe is a cat who will choose to rest beside you.
Rule number 8. Learn to speak cat body language.
If you want to understand your cat, truly understand them, not just guess at what they need, you have to learn to read their body. because while cats do vocalize, and while meowing is a real form of communication designed for us, the vast majority of what your cat is saying at any given moment is being said without a single sound. It's in the position of their ears, the movement of their tail, the tension in their posture, the shape of their eyes, the angle of their whiskers. Once you start reading these signals, conversations you never knew were happening suddenly become visible everywhere. Let's go through the main ones. The tail is one of the most expressive parts of a cat's body. A tail held high, sometimes with a slight curl at the tip, is a happy, confident greeting. This is your cat saying hello with genuine warmth. A tail tucked low or curved under the body signals anxiety or submission. A tail lashing back and forth quickly and broadly is not happiness, it's agitation. It means your cat is overstimulated, annoyed, or about to lose patience. A slow, gentle sway is curiosity or mild interest. The ears are a real-time emotional readout. Ears forward and slightly angled out, relaxed and curious. Ears flat and rotated to the sides, sometimes called airplane ears, defensive, anxious, or frightened. Ears pinned flat against the skull, genuinely frightened or about to be aggressive. Ears twitching rapidly, overstimulation or processing a lot of sensory input. The eyes carry enormous information. Slow blink, as we've discussed, means safety and affection. Pupils fully dilated in normal light, high arousal, whether from excitement, fear, or overstimulation. Narrow focused pupils, confidence, calm, or sometimes predatory focus. A long, hard stare without blinking, challenge or threat. The posture tells you their overall emotional state. A relaxed, loose body, rolling, stretching, showing the belly without tension, is a genuinely comfortable cat. A puffed-up, sideways-oriented body with an arched back is a defensive display. A low, compressed posture with the head tucked down is fear. Slow movements and deliberate positioning generally means your cat feels safe. Fast, sudden movements often indicate a nervous system that's on alert. Start paying attention to all of this as a system, not individual signals in isolation. A tail flick alone means less than a tail flick combined with flattening ears and a sideways turned body. Context is everything. Your cat is speaking all the time. The question is whether you're listening.
Rule number 9. Keep the litter box sacred.
This one sounds like a hygiene tip, and it is, but it's also something deeper. The litter box is where your cat is most physically vulnerable. Elimination is, from an evolutionary standpoint, a moment of exposure. You're focused, stationary, and unable to flee quickly. In the wild, this is when predators strike. Your cat's nervous system knows this, and so the litter box experience triggers a very specific kind of vulnerability that affects how comfortable your cat feels using it. When the litter box is unclean, too loud, too enclosed, in a chaotic part of the house, or smelling of heavy artificial fragrance, any of these things can make your cat reluctant to use it. And a cat who avoids the litter box doesn't just hold it until they can't anymore. They find alternatives, carpets, corners, your laundry. Not out of spite, but because they need a place that feels safe enough to use. Here are the guidelines that behavior science backs up. Cleanliness. Scoop at least once a day, ideally twice. Cats have incredibly sensitive noses. A box that seems fine to you may be unbearable to them. A clean box is one of the highest value things you can offer. Location. Place the box somewhere quiet and low traffic, not next to the washing machine that makes sudden loud noises, not in a hallway where children run past. Somewhere your cat can approach without feeling exposed and use without being startled. Coverage. Covered litter boxes seem like they'd feel safer, like a little den, but for many cats, they actually feel more like traps. Odors concentrate inside. There's only one exit. If another cat or a person walks past while they're inside, they're caught. Open or low-sided boxes are often preferred. Scent. Use unscented litter. Scented litter is designed to make the experience more pleasant for us.
For cats, the artificial fragrance is overwhelming and aversive. Plain, unscented clumping litter is almost universally tolerated. Number. The rule of thumb is 1 box per cat plus 1 extra. If you have 2 cats, 3 boxes. This prevents territorial tension around a shared resource and ensures every cat always has access. Treat the litter box like what it is, a basic necessity for your cat's physical comfort and psychological safety. When it's right, you'll never hear about it. When it's wrong, you absolutely will. Rule number 10. Routine isn't boring, it's safety. We live in a culture that associates routine with monotony. Routine is what you're trying to escape on a vacation. Routine is the thing life coaches tell you to disrupt when you want to grow. Your cat feels exactly the opposite. For cats, routine is not boring. Routine is the language of safety. When the same things happen in the same sequence at the same time every day, your cat's nervous system is receiving a continuous signal. The world is predictable. I am not in danger. Everything is as it should be. Think about what unpredictability means to an animal with your cat's wiring. The unexpected, whether it's a strange smell, a moved piece of furniture, a change in feeding schedule, or an unfamiliar person in the house, is processed first as a potential threat. Every deviation from the known is a question mark that requires investigation and assessment. When your cat's world is filled with question marks, they're constantly working. Their nervous system never fully settles. Low-level anxiety becomes their default state. And the behaviors that come with chronic low-level anxiety in cats include hiding, aggression, excessive grooming, digestive issues, and reduced affection. All things we tend to interpret as personality or misbehavior when they're actually stress responses. Consistent routine removes most of the question marks. Same feeding time, same window for morning sun, same places where their things are, same bedtime habits, same general rhythm to the household. And within that rhythm, build in intentional rituals that include your cat. Morning greeting. Find them, say good morning, give them a moment of attention. An afternoon feeding that happens at the same time every day. An evening couch session that they can count on. These small anchors tell your cat not just that their world is stable, but that you are a stable, predictable part of it. A cat that trusts the routine trusts the person who maintains it, and that trust is the foundation of everything else. Rule 11. Quiet is connection. Our final rule is perhaps the subtlest, and in a culture that equates demonstration of affection with noise and activity, it might be the hardest to fully believe. You don't always have to do something with your cat. Cats are, at their core, experts in presence. They know how to exist fully in a moment without filling it with action. And some of the deepest bonding they experience happens in stillness, sitting beside you while you read, watching the window together without commentary, napping in the same room while you work. This is not passive. It is not the absence of connection. It is connection in its most honest form. When your cat chooses to be near you, not because you called them, not because dinner is coming, but simply because they prefer to be in the same space as you, that is a profound statement of trust. You are safe. Being near you is pleasant. You are part of the landscape of comfort. And here's the mistake a lot of cat owners make in these moments. They feel the need to narrate, to reach over, to make it into something more active, because stillness feels like they're not doing enough. But your cat isn't waiting for you to do anything. They're already getting what they came for. The warmth of your presence, the familiar sound of your breathing, the feeling of existing in proximity to someone they love. Let that be enough. Breathe. Stay still. Let the silence between you be full of things neither of you has to say. The cats who are most bonded to their humans are often with families where a lot of quiet time is spent together, not because they love their cats more, but because they've learned to love them in the language the cats actually speak.
11 rules, and none of them are complicated. None of them require special equipment or professional training or a degree in animal behavior. They require attention, patience, a willingness to see your cat as a being with their own inner life, their own preferences, their own deeply specific way of understanding the world, and to meet them there instead of expecting them to meet you where you are. When you do that, the relationship shifts. The cat who used to disappear when guests arrived starts choosing to stay in the room. The cat who would never sit in your lap starts claiming it as territory. The one who always seemed vaguely suspicious of you starts slow blinking from across the room. Not because you trained them, because you finally started speaking their language. That's the whole game. That's all they ever wanted. If this changed the way you see your cat, even one small thing, share it with someone who has a cat they love but sometimes doesn't quite understand, because most of us are making these mistakes, and most of us never even know it. And if you want to go deeper on any of these topics, feline body language, litter box psychology, the science of cat vocalization, let me know in the comments. I will keep going. Your cat has more to say. We just have to learn to listen.